Hi YouTube, it's Kathy, and this is my weekly entertainment wrap-up for August 5th to 11th. This week I read 2 books, I watched 1 movie, I watched 2 shows, and I listened to 1 book. Half of these items are remainders from the booktubeathon, but there are some other very special treats I want to share with you. First this week I finished Spun by Catherine Mackenzie. This is a novella that follows the events of her book, Spun, in which a journalist follows a starlet into rehab. In this novella, we are following Amber, the starlet, 2 years after she got sober, and how her life always seems to lead back to her mistakes. You don't need to read the original novel to enjoy it, but obviously you will pick up on more if you do. Being a novella, this was an excellent choice to pick up during a readathon, and I enjoyed how much I cared about the characters in such a short time. The other physical book I read this week was You Bring the Distant Near by Matali Perkins. I picked this one up because it is one of 2 picks for the BookNet Fest Book Club, and since I am less than 4 weeks away from hopping on 3 planes to Orlando, I figured I should get this one under my belt. Plus, it was already on my massive TBR, so it just got bumped up the ranks. This is a family saga about 3 generations of Indian women living in America. The grandmother is afraid of her children losing their heritage. Her daughters embrace America in different ways, and in turn their daughters have struggles when it comes to who they are and how they fit in this world. This book tends to climax on a turning point in relationships and then skips several years to the next family chaos. In this book we are given intimate glimpses into these 5 women and what they do to persist in who they are. If you are looking for varied viewpoints on heritage and family duty, pick this book up. The movie I watched this week was Love, Simon. This was my book-to-movie adaptation for the booktubeathon because I had both of these things readily available. And it's always nice to have something you know you are going to adore when you're trying to read 7 books in 7 days. I've talked about this movie before and how some of the changes in it are kind of ridiculous, but overall it is a great film, especially when you don't put it side by side with the source material because obviously there will be changes between medium. There's still just no way that a regular high school would get to do Cabaret as their school musical. I wasn't successful in petitioning my high school to do Rocky Horror either. This week in Survivor we are watching the All-Stars season and there have been some twists. Additionally, this is the 2nd season that we know of where a female contestant has been sexually assaulted, which led to her walking off the show. This season has seen a couple of people leave early and I completely understand their decisions to do so. The show I really wanted to talk to everyone about this week is Couple-ish. This is a Canadian web series written by and starring Caitlin Alexander, a wonderful human being that I had the pleasure of meeting this year at VidCon. There are now some great inside jokes from hanging out with those friends. I had seen them in another web series prior to us meeting, and I had heard of Couple-ish but just hadn't gotten around to sitting down and watching it. The premise of this series is Dee needs a new roommate because they are in the middle of a 2-year lease and their sister Amy says to find someone on the internet. They find Rachel, a Brit who seems like a perfect fit until months later when Dee finds out that Rachel needs a new visa to stay in the country and she put Dee down as her common-law partner. I tore through both seasons of this show. The writing and delivery are clever, emotional, and pure. The casting is refreshing as there are only 3 men in the whole show, and one of them is just a token dude in the 2nd season. Additionally, the protagonist is non-binary, just like Caitlin themselves. The show is a masterful piece of storytelling, linking in YouTube elements as the couple is documenting their fake relationship on YouTube to improve the chances of the scam succeeding. I know that I will rewatch this series in the future because I got so caught up in it that I watched it all in one sitting. So if you're looking for a queer story that is well produced, written, and acted, I put the link to the 1st season playlist down below for your viewing pleasure. The book I listened to this week was Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. As I mentioned before, this is a reread and I'll link my Travel Simon video in which I gushed about it the last time I read it back in March. I did mention in my booktubeathon vlog though, which I will also link down below, that I forgot how much Simon cusses, and I'm fine with it, but it was just a detail that had escaped my mind. The first time I read this was via audiobook, so it was nice to revisit this format after doing that reread where I just wrote all over that book. That's it for this week. If you've read, watched, or listened to any of these, let me know about it down in the comments below. On the way down to the comments, if you hit that subscribe button, that would be very nice of you. You can like and share this as you see fit, and I will see you very soon. Bye!